Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Penguin Nonsense. I am your host, Edith, and as y'all can tell, today's scenery or background is a little different than usual. I am at the beach. I came for my birthday because I guess now it is 12 at night, so it's already my birthday. It's the 21st, and I just came to relax, have a good time, and thank you for joining us once again, wherever you may be joining from. And let's get on with our stories for today. So, our first story comes from a story that has been going around a lot of our news and TikTok, Facebook, everywhere. It's being talked about a lot right now. And I'm sorry my voice sounds a little extra or a little too nasally. I got sick again. I always keep getting these sinus infections, so just bear with me, guys. All right. So it's about the Florida law that has been passed. I know a lot of people might think that, oh, it doesn't affect me because it just has to do with immigrants. But in reality, if we really take a look at everything that immigrants do for this country, for the state of Florida, immigrants have been known to take jobs of really hard things to do, like jobs that normally people wouldn't take, and immigrants usually do these jobs. And this law has created a lot of hardships for a lot of them in Florida. And I found an article that pretty much kind of explains why we're starting to see a lot of these videos in like TikTok about just fields or construction sites that don't have barely any workers there, or if any at all, because immigrants are starting to flee from Florida or just decided to go kind of on a strike to not work, because eventually, when this law finally does pass in July, I believe is when it'll be done. We'll get into the article in a little bit. It's going to be bad for them. So, this is a new law that um, Governor Ron DeSantis signed last week, and it mandates that businesses with 25 or more employees verify the citizenship status of workers through the federal online portal E-Verify, or face stronger penalties, among other new restrictions. The new law, which goes into effect on July 1st, is the latest movement by DeSantis to capitalize on immigration politics as he prepares for a likely but as yet unannounced 2024 presidential campaign. Florida is home to about 800,000 undocumented immigrants, and many work in the kind of businesses that would be impacted by the law, known as SB 1718. Many of those affected are also members of mixed status families, where a son and daughter, for example, might be a U.S. citizen, while parents may not. The bill impacts extended beyond the workplace to healthcare and highways. Even family members who could be targeted of law enforcement under a new provision that punishes anyone who transports an undocumented person knowingly and willfully into Florida across state lines. And this has been even gone a little further too. The law also requires Florida hospitals that accept Medicaid to collect the immigration status of patients and calculate and report the cost of health care for undocumented people to the state. It no longer permits undocumented people to use driver's license issued from another state and prohibits state ID cards to be issued to them. DeSantis' office referred Vox to comments the governor made during a press conference this week. When and the quote went, "When we have something like an E-Verify, that's a tool to make sure that the long-standing Florida law is enforced," DeSantis said. "You can't build a strong economy based on illegality. The penalties under SB 1780 are severe. Businesses that fail to use E-Verify would be fined 1,000 per day, and the state would suspend an employer license if they are caught employing an undocumented person. The law also enhances human trafficking and smuggling penalties for people, including U.S. citizens, making it a second-degree felony, punishable by a $10,000 fine and up to 15 years in prison to transport 5 or more undocumented people or an undocumented minor into the state of Florida." And that article that I picked up is a very long article, but it has a lot of good information of why this law is happening, what it really is doing, and all the information that you might possibly want to know about this law. But it's something that we all need to be aware of because it is targeting a certain group of people who have pretty much fought their way into this country to have a better life and to give their kids a better life. And I know there's a lot of people, as myself, I get a lot of questions of, why don't you just become a citizen? Like, if you want it that bad, you should just become a citizen. And they don't understand that it takes so much more than just, oh, I want to become a citizen and that's that. Like, no, like, for me, I have deferred action. A lot of y'all know that's the DREAM Act. And because of that, I am able to have, a job, a license, but other people don't get to benefit out of this. Other people, like, they might not be able to pay the legal fees to even start a citizenship process, and even then you have to start out with your residency, and then you have to go through the legal papers for that, the legal fees for that, the application fees, and then you have to wait years to even be potentially approved. You might still not get approved, and then proceed to go again with legal fees and applications and stuff to get your citizenship. This can take up to years and years. I've seen people say that it took them like 10 to 7 years, 7 to 10 years. Like, it's a lot. And for me, as a person with deferred action, I would have to give my deferred action up in order to attain citizenship or to attain residency if I wanted to decide to apply for that. So how do I end up working if I can't have my permit to work and I have to wait until I get my residency? You know? So things crash in between different stuff and trying to find this citizenship pathway, and it's not as easy as people think it is. It's not that simple to just go into an office and be like, I want to apply for my citizenship today. And because you were just an outstanding person of whatever it might have be for this country or whatnot, there still could be like, well, no, like, it. I don't think I can stress how bad everything is in the path to citizenship. And I'm not saying that people who have gotten it, like, didn't deserve it or anything. They went through their struggles, and I'm glad they got it. But all I'm saying is that it's not so easy for everyone. So just keep that in mind before you go on saying, if you really wanted it, you could just become a citizen. Like, no, it's not that easy. And for a lot of these people, they're just trying to provide a better home for their families. I know that's the case for my parents. The reason why they even came here was so we and me and my brothers could have a better education, a better job, and not have to struggle and live with the struggles that they had to live. And even then, we get to struggle here because there's people who look down on us because we're Hispanic, or we sometimes our English isn't that perfect, or whatever it may be. But at the end of the day, we try to make our parents proud because we know how much they gave for us. So this law really hurts um, them more than anything. It's us having to watch our parents now having to suffer because they can't have a job, or they can't be driven around, or that kind of stuff. Like in the beginning of the article, it stated a lot of how, like, even people who have family members that are undocumented can't be like transporting their family members. Like, that is ridiculous. All of a sudden now, you're because you're a citizen and you're transporting your own parents, like, it's pretty much fine, and it could be a penalty for you. And that's just crazy to me. It's crazy what all of that is becoming, and I really wish this law wasn't happening. But do keep them in prayer, like the state of Florida. I hope that things can be turned around for half or all of them, if even. But it's something that everyone needs to keep an eye out for. And I hate to say it, but without immigrants doing all these hard works in the land feels like doing crops, doing construction, doing the dirty work, it's hard to keep an economy going. So I wish the better for Florida, and I hope everything kind of works out for at least the immigrants there. So we will move on to our next story of the day. And our next story is Am I the A-hole story? This is a very short, but it was more of a I wonder what everyone's opinion would be on this one type of situation. It's not that dramatic. It's very, very lame. But it was one of those where I was just like, this is kind of cute, but kind of funny, kind of like, why would you do it? So the title goes, Am I the a-hole for throwing away my mom's sandwich? It says, My mom always packs a snack whenever she travels, usually a ham and cheese sandwich. I was driving her to the airport this morning, and on the ride down, it came up that she hadn't had time to go to the deli and had packed herself a tuna salad sandwich instead. I asked if it was to eat in the airport. She said, Nope, she's saving it in case she gets peckish mid-air. I tried to tell her that tuna isn't something you should really be eating in close quarters with recycled air, and that the smell would probably bother other people. She was adamant that there was nothing wrong with it. I told her that if I was on a plane, it would bother me. She didn't budge. So while she was unloading her luggage from the trunk, I snuck the sandwich out of her carry-on and tossed it in the garbage. She didn't notice until she got through security, and then I got a pissed off text. I told her to get something in the airport and I'll pay her back, but tuna really isn't something a plane friendly snack should be, and am I the a-hole for doing this to her? I thought it was kind of funny though that they ended up throwing the sandwich away. But it is definitely something that I think I would I wouldn't have been that bad, honestly. Like, if you threw my sandwich away, it is what it is. I would have just bought myself something else. But I do think it's wrong that this person was so worried about what the people in the airplane would think about, like, her mom eating this sandwich. Like, let the woman be. You're not gonna be in the airport. And I mean, I guess I'm glad that she's looking out for other people in the airport, or I'm not sure, but that they are looking out for other people in the airport. But at the same time, I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna be there. I really don't think tuna salad smells that bad. Or was it tuna or was it chicken? It was a tuna salad sandwich. That's what it was. So I really don't think that's smelly or anything. Maybe because I do like tuna salad. I don't know. But I honestly don't think it would have been that awful. But I know there was some people in the comments who were like, "Good job for for throwing it away because nobody wants to sit next to a person with a tuna sandwich or something like that." And then some people were like, "Well, that was a dick move. Why would you throw your mother's food away like without her permission? Maybe that's the one thing she had that, or she didn't have money to buy something at the airport." We don't get to know like if the mother was just like financially unable to like buy some food or something like that. We don't know. But I think it's one of those like, was she the a-hole? Was she not the a-hole? In my opinion, she was not the a-hole. I I think it's one of those things where you just, it happened, let it go. I don't think she should be like one a-hole for it. But I think everybody has their own opinions about it. I'm not a person who travels on plane a lot. I've traveled in a plane once in my lifetime. So I can't really say my experience with planes. But if you who are listening have experience in planes or have ever sat next to somebody who had a tuna sandwich and know the horribleness of it, let us know in the comments and what your thoughts on this was. Okay? So, on to our next and last story of the day. This was a happy story because we all know that sometimes we get those child abducting Amber Alerts where like a child has gone missing or something like that. And I always have wondered, like, I wish they would send out text messages that they have found the kids or that the kids are safe or that kind of stuff, but they never do. They just tell us that they have been adopted or something. And I was kind of just wonder, like, if these people ever got found. But I think this one is a story of hope where there's an Amber Alert a long time ago. And this was um, Kayla on, if I pronounce her last name wrong, I'm sorry. Kayla on Biham. Biha? Yeah, Bihan, I want to say. We're not going to try to pronounce her last name. But, anyways, Kayla. So, she was adopted or kidnapped, I guess, a while back. I want to say it was about 11 years. And I found an article that apparently she has been found. So, I will read the article to you. The woman accused of abducting her daughter from Illinois' suburb 6 years ago has turned herself in. Days after the girl was found safe in North Carolina and then reunited with her father, said the local authorities. Heather Umbiham, the mother of now 15-year-old Kayla Umbiham, is being held at the Kane County Adult Justice Center in Illinois without bond on abduction charge, according to the jail. Heather was arrested Saturday on a fugitive warrant out of Illinois on kidnapping and child abduction charges and was held on a $250,000 bond. While she awaited extradition, at Buncombe County, North Carolina, Deputy Clerk Corey Alexander told CNC she bonded out Tuesday morning and was released, Asheville Police Department spokesperson Samantha told on Tuesday. The girl's disappearance came after Unmaham took her to the parade on July 4th, 2017, according to John, an attorney for Kayla's custodial father, Ryan. When Isarka or Ryan went to pick up his daughter the next day, he was told that the mom had took her on a camping trip and her and Kayla never returned from it. On Saturday evening, Kayla was spotted at a shop in Asheville by someone who recognized her from an episode of Netflix Unsolved Mystery series about parental adoptions. Booth told CNN that person notified a store employee who then called the police, Booth said, and she was reunited with her dad. So that goes to show that like sometimes um, we can't always give up on searching for someone that we have been looking for. And I think this was a great story because this child could have never have seen her dad again. And thanks to the people out there from who saw this Netflix documentary, of unsolved cases, someone recognized this girl. Like 6 years later, that is crazy to me. Or, because like, how do you know that this little girl now looks like this, and this is what it should look like, and that's the girl you saw in the documentary. But I'm glad that somebody did recognize her. Somebody paid that much close attention to be like, that girl was abducted. I know that girl was abducted, and called police as soon as she thought. And I am thankful for that, because a lot of kids don't get to come back home to their parents or come back home to the right parents, and that is always sad. I always wish the best for the kids, and I wish nothing bad ever happened to kids, but sadly, that's not the kind of world we live in. But I'm glad for this girl. I'm glad she's home, and I'm glad she's safe. And you never know. Keep your eyes out. Always pay attention to those Amber Alerts. If by any chance, if they're around your area, you never know. Pay attention to those license plates, to those cars, and try to keep an eye out for them and that kind of stuff. So that's my last story for the day. I thought it would end on a happy note of like 6 years later, this girl was found. So thank you for joining me, and thank you for being here with me on this beautiful night at the beach. And hopefully we'll see you again Monday. All right. Bye, guys.